Hello, everybody. Nice being back here at FUT Buddies podcast with Jake for Trading. Today, we are talking about future stars.
Yeah, I'm excited, guys, to get in the conversation. EA picked a really unique team this year, and I want to see how you guys feel about it, because Florian and I have some interesting opinions on it.
I think today is the first first episode where we have different opinions, Jake.
Oh, this is gonna be entertaining.
Yeah.
I want to let you guys know something too. I feel like I need to start with this so you guys don't think I'm a terrible father or anything. We were scheduled to have a C-section for our little baby last Friday because she was breech, meaning her head was towards the top of my wife's chest, and she happened to flip in a small 5-day window, so we can have a natural birth. So I'm able to do the podcast today, and we don't have a little baby yet.
That's good to hear. Good to hear that everything is okay, and we hope to hear good news very soon.
Yeah, I'll be sure to share.
And for the people who are watching or listening for the first time this podcast, the FUT Buddies podcast, don't worry. Each show we have like a 30-second, 1 minute update on Jake's family.
Exactly.
So let's go right into it. Future Stars came last Friday as we hoped. First team. We have two teams, so next team will be next Friday. We got the Future Stars promo, we got some SBCs, we got some objectives, the team of the week, Marquee Matchups. We're gonna talk about all of them. But
Yep.
first, tell me what's your opinion on Future Stars and how are you feeling it?
Yeah, so I thought the team was really interesting. Definitely unexpected for a lot of these players. Dominguez, Kamara, Aarons, Kabak. I hadn't seen really in any predictions because there's a lot, I think, of bigger names out there that they discluded, which is part of the reason people were disappointed. Obviously, I would say the headliners are Felix, Greenwood, Martinelli, Rodrigo, and Tonali. I just think that they have such a large player pool to select from this year. They're kind of put in a tough situation. Martinelli, I really don't like what they did with him because he's got incredible face stats, but he's missing weak foot and skill move. So I wish they would have buffed that to really make him worth the inclusion. Felix is outrageously expensive, but he has stats similar to like a prime Butragueno, so that's justified. Kabak is really high right now because he links with McKennie, who like 25% of the community did. I think a large percentage of US audience completed that SBC, and he's kind of hard to link without those direct links. So he's really high right now. He should come down in the future. But overall, I'm okay with this selection. I think that they don't have to include exclusively big names. Like I'm looking at this Dominguez card, and he's one of the better Serie A center mids, so I don't have a problem with it at all. What about you? What do you think?
I was hoping that you have a very good opinion about the Future Stars teams.
I do not.
Because honestly, I have couple of thoughts here. First thought is what's with this team? What's with this player selection? Okay, we knew maybe Felix or Gabriel Martinelli or Rodrigo would come.
Yep.
But I for this promo, I don't see the point into having two teams. I see the point on EA's side to make money and stuff like this. But I would feel like you could have released a full batch of players and we would have been better. I don't know what's with these prices. I honestly 2.3 million for Felix. I don't know who's paying for that and why. Okay, maybe he's very rare. So
Yeah, he is.
yeah, that I would understand, but you could buy three players and still have some change left, and you would still have a better team than just getting Felix.
Yep.
We've got this week this season objective Odegaard, which can be upgraded through playing and scoring and assisting with different versions of him,
Totally.
which is a nice idea, but I don't like it because I like it that it starts something for EA for future promos. We know this could happen for future promos also,
Yep.
but I don't really like it because it's not like you're upgrading one player which you have in your team. You're just forced into playing different cards in rivals, which we know not a lot of players from the community really enjoy. So yeah, and regarding the SBCs,
Yep.
so we got what we got. We got um Keen, right? Which he wasn't. He
Yep.
wasn't.
He was the day one.
I mean, he was okay if you were just starting the game and you didn't have the meta gold players in your team. But we've got also player moments Davies. I guess he was quite expected. A lot of hype on Bayern side, and Weston McKennie, who's also Bundesliga, and you said he links with the other guy from Schalke, with Kabak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I thought overall that selection was okay. I think right now they're almost including now, in my opinion, a little too many just affordable SBCs that are just kind of like nonchalant. Like I think of Tammy Abraham, the headliner, right? A lot of people did him. I don't know how many teams he's really gonna make as a starter, and you might have him as a super sub for what, like maybe a month. Remy, I thought was kind of the same. They had him recently, and he used to be a future star, but now he has 3-star. He used to be a FIFA star, and now he has 3-star, 3-star, and he's not going to be used again long term. And then they just released Keane, who kind of reminds me of the same as those two. You know, like maybe he's a cheap super sub for most people, but he doesn't make a lot of starting teams. So we've seen 3 strikers real recently that have kind of similar statistics and similar, I think, fits in people's teams where they might make a super sub briefly, but not even long term.
And I want to tell you something here. How many super subs can you have in your
Oh,
team?
totally. People waste so many coins because they switch out their 3 super subs all year.
And this first, and second, remember, everybody has like each week's objective player in their subs,
Exactly.
because you got Mbabu, you got Roussillon, you got
Orsic.
Orsic, you got Plea, you got a lot of players. Each week you get 1 or 2 players who you get basically for free or for playing the
Totally.
game. And yeah, I don't know what to say about this. Don't I my advice here would be, don't do SBCs just to have the players on the bench.
Yeah,
This
and
would
then
be
regarding Odegaard, I think that you kind of hit the nail on the head. I don't think it was enough. I think they could have gave him like literally up to a 91. I think they could have made the upgrades more specific to using his card exclusively, like assist and goals and things like that. But most of all, I think what the community was really happy about, including myself, was the general concept. I hope that this is just one of many introductions of a player upgrading based system, because we've asked for that for years. So I think most of the community had a really positive outlook on that. And even though the card in itself might not be worth it, or might be a little too much effort, but the idea is what we're really excited about, and this was their first implementation of it. So I think that in the future it has a lot of potential.
Yeah, and as you said, let's say the promo is at half a road. We see what we get on Friday. I
Yep.
hope we get some really cool players on Friday. Do you have any, let's say, any guesses who you hope or you think we may get?
Well, there's just so many big names that can be used, and what I like to see is I like to see differing positions and players. I don't want to see another. I don't really want to see another striker from the Premier League because we already got Greenwood in this promotion.
Yeah.
One player I think that would be really awesome, because we don't even have a left back yet. I mean, we got Davies, but not in the actual squad. I think would be Theo Hernandez. I think he's younger than a lot of people think. He's already up massively in FIFA and playing super well. He didn't get a headliner, so to me it kind of alludes to him being possibly used, and I think it'd be an insane left back. Could probably get like an 89 or 90 rating, and he'd be one of the better left backs in the game.
And he's French.
And he's French, and people love him. Look at his informs. His price has skyrocketed the last month on both of his inform cards.
Exactly. Yeah.
I would also like to see Hudson-Odoi. I think that we need it. I think people would have preferred him over Mount in the first place, so I hope to see him in. Yeah, what about you? I mean, I'd love to see Holland too as a main feature. I don't know if they're going to include him. If they're
what
going
do you
to
think? What do you think were the chances to include Haaland after he will probably get Player of the Month? He got an inform. He will get an inform in 2 weeks probably.
Yeah, so. I think super low. He's due a Player of the Month because the Bundesliga only had 2 games this month and he performed massively in them. I really don't think they're going to include him because he could also be a main headliner of the Winter Ones to Watch promo. So if they include him, they'd have to buff him to literally like a 93 because he's going to already get real versions, not even futuristic versions, up to probably like an 89 or 90 this year. So they'd have to buff him, and it would just be a true sign of like ultimate reaching for pack sales because they really shouldn't based off everything we're seeing.
One player which I have on my list and I really want because I'm a Real Madrid fan is Valverde from Real.
Yes, yeah,
he played a very good season this year. Mm-hmm. He will probably get Team of the Year, Team of the Season, Team of the Season card in La Liga. But until then, a card boosted for him would be very nice.
Yeah, and there's no, like I said, I like to see differing positions. There's no La Liga center mids in this team, so I'd like to see him as well.
Yeah, and there is a big lack of center mids, like box-to-box center mids in La Liga. We have Frankie de Jong, and I'm not sure if we have anyone else. So that would be massive for that league. Totally. Linking also with all these meta defenders like Ferland Mendy, Varane, and so on.
100%.
Okay, going next to the team of the week, which we had last week. Let's say we quite nailed during last podcast the name of the players. We didn't get any big name in this team of the week. It was one of the poorest team of the weeks at this stage of the game in the last years, I think. Not a lot of usable players there. So,
agreed.
What do you think? Are we still with the investment advice that we should have bought during the weekend, or there are still some investments to be made here?
Yeah, all these were lower. So like we've been saying, guys, Friday and Saturday seems to be buy time. Friday looks particularly good right now because it's the first day of the promotion. We're going to get a second team. I'm sure they'll do lightning rounds. And, people are pretty broke FIFA points-wise. They spent a lot at Team of the Year. They spent even more at headliners. So now you're not seeing lightning rounds sell out anymore. So if people want to use them and want to buy FIFA points in packs, they're going to tend to want to do it on Friday during that first day of the promotion. So just for example, some prices we actually saw Pereira dip to as low as 105k on PS. Ilicic went down to like 32k, which was massively low. Insigne went down to like 135 at the lowest, but a couple other good looks for some informed fodders. So like Guerrero, he went down to 12.5k, which is super low for a wide position with good links. I still think Acerbi is kind of low if you can get him right around 20k flat on either console. He definitely has good potential to go up. One thing I want to note is that if we do see a mid-icon SBC, which I really do think we will, it's just a matter of when, Ilicic, based off his price, rating, and links, he still has like 10k to rise if we see a repeatable SBC that requires some informs. So keep an eye on him because make note of this seriously, because if that comes, you can just go buy him like that day. You don't even have to buy in advance. But if you see a mid-icon SBC come, most people won't be thinking about these types of players. So go buy the inform Ilicic because he can easily go to 50k.
Yeah, there are some let's say nice buys in this team of the week because Honestly, I can give you an advice here, guys. You can go on Footbin. You can
Yes.
go on in the menu in cheapest players by rating,
Yep.
select informs, and you can compare some players on different ratings with other players.
Mm-hmm.
And you may want to keep in mind good nations and good leagues.
Yep.
That would help. And also maybe don't go for the goalkeepers, because goalkeepers are usually cheaper than other players.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Talking about team of the week and headliners. You mentioned headliners. I know that there are a lot of live cards with a possibility into getting into the next team of the week. Because we are on this topic, I said, hey, let's talk a little bit about the next
For
team
sure.
of the week.
Yeah.
I know we had a very good performances by Lukaku, 2 goals for Inter. We got Sarabia, he got 1 assist and 1 goal. We got De Ligt, who got a goal in a 3-0 for Juventus. Also, Salah had a good performance, and his headliner will also grow because of his 4 wins in a row. Also, Wijnaldum is in this situation. So let's say people are expecting a lot to happen this team of the week.
Yep.
What are your thoughts here, and what can we expect?
Yeah, I think these headliners are just hyped massively right now. It's kind of crazy. Like, you look at Lewandowski, you look at Salah, you look at another one I don't think you mentioned was Tellez. Tellez had a goal and a clean sheet.
Tellez, of course.
So he has a good chance of getting in. And for someone like Tellez, I think that's extremely likely, because how often is he really going to get an inform-worthy performance as a defender where he gets a goal like that? So I think that he'll get in. He's already up a good chunk, but I think they'll put in more defenders that they have live cards of for that reason. And then, yeah, for pricing wise, like, Salah is due 1 upgrade for sure from the 4 wins, and then potentially a double upgrade. If I would need to see his stats on his 95 card, but 2 million seems relatively fair for him. I think he could go up a little bit higher. He's going to be a 95, which is relatively similar to some team of the season cards we've got in the past. So it's kind of crazy. Lewandowski is also due a winter upgrade, so his card has potential to go to like a 95 soon as well. So it's kind of crazy because these headliner cards are now nearing some team of the season type looks we've had in the past. And it's really exciting. I think EA did a good thing with these cards, like we talked about before. I hope they do them a little bit earlier in the year next year, but they clearly had a good player selection. I mean, Varane's up like 300 or 400k because he's doing an upgrade, and he's one of the best defenders in the game now.
Yeah, I was closely looking at Varane, honestly, for my team, but he blew in price. He blew like 300k in a week, I think.
Yep.
And he needs 1 more game for Real to win to get an upgrade.
Yep.
Question here, and a lot of people may wonder about this: are these prices hyped because people know they will get an upgrade, and after that prices will go down, or do you think they will go even higher?
Yeah, it's a really hard question. From past experience, what you can kind of closely relate this to is one to watch. So what happens with ones to watch cards typically is people buy them into the hype, but once they actually get upgraded on that Wednesday or in team of the week, they start to drop down. You can see it. It's a common theme, a common trend, happens all the time. In this case, like I said, I don't know if that's going to happen because these cards are, 1, really rare, and then 2, I mean, you're looking at potentially a 95 Salah, like with a lot of rarity. So is he worth any less than 2 million coins? I don't think so. How high will he go? I'm not going to say he's going to jump up or anything, but I think he'll suddenly go up to like a 2.2, a 2.3. So I still think they have some room. These are the best cards of their version for until team of the season. And, once they're approaching like a 92, 93, 94 rating, you got to pay for it, right?
Yeah, and what I like to do, and also an advice for people with, let's say, higher budget, is to watch these cards for example, Varane, he needs one more win to get upgraded. Watch the next game of Real Madrid's,
Yeah,
and if they don't win, just wait for the crash of his price.
for
Okay,
sure.
this is a very tough situation to happen, but if you have the money and you have the time, go do this, and you can get some very good
Definitely,
prices from these players.
definitely.
Because we are at the team of the week, the question is about okay, investing in some gold versions of the next team of the week predictions, let's say.
Hmm.
Any advices here?
Yeah, I think that based off performance, Ferland Mendy has a good chance of getting in. So you can look at his gold card. You want to buy him before Wednesday, before the announcement. You can look at his stats as well. He had a good performance. He's going to be in some predictions for sure, and he's still used a lot. I know he's only an 80 rated, which is crazy, but he's still used as a left back often. So he'd probably see an increase in price on Wednesday directly if he's in, and throughout the week as people buy his card. I also think that Firmino has a chance of getting in. See him in some predictions. And
Yeah, he
then
he got he got 3 assists. Yeah.
totally. And then Lloris and Delict will probably get in. So those are two SBC fodder cards where if they go out of packs and we keep seeing some of these high rated SBCs at like 84 rating, 85 rating, 86 rating, they're going to go up just from being used in SBCs and becoming more rare. So those are some good looks of their gold cards. If you want to check any of their stats, you can, but they're all in predictions. They all had Team of the Week worthy performances, but we know the final say is in EA's hands.
Yeah, very good choices there.
Yeah.
Ferland Mendy, that's one big card. If he gets in, I see his price already. It's a little bit up,
Yep, a little
but
slightly inflated.
you don't really want to risk it, I guess.
Yeah.
We talked last week about, and I believe the episode was called like this, mid icon SBC.
Yep.
And I want people want us to be honest and to be true to ourselves. And we said that maybe in the next 2 weeks. So last week we said maybe in the next 2 weeks this SBC will come. It didn't come this week. So what are the chances to come in the next week?
Timing wise, it's really hard to say. What I think has to happen beforehand is I think that the SBC fodders need to come down in price a little bit. That's kind of how they set themselves up for it. Is they let the SBC fodders, the higher tier, come down first because they know the drastic impact it will have on the market. They know how pricey it will look if SBC fodders are inflated beforehand. So what I think is going to actually lead up to it is a few days of not requiring 85 plus rated squads to let them come down a little bit. But yeah, I still think it comes out before the next set of icons. They did do those price range increases like we noted in the last episode. I don't see a reason for that outside of bringing a huge repeatable because they weren't even near their price caps. So again, there was no reason for them to start messing around with it. So I hope it comes soon. It will cause a good crash on the market where you can pick up your teams a little bit cheaper and things like that. So I think that we're due for one because the market's been really high for a good 2 or 3 weeks now, and it's funny because when the market's low, people want it to go higher for their investments, and when the market's high, people want it to go lower for their teams. So I think everyone's in the same boat.
I have here something to add.
Hmm.
I think that the second team of the Future Stars will last only a couple of days
Yeah,
as
probably till
the
Monday.
yeah. And I was thinking maybe they do the mid icon SBC right after the promo because
Mm.
they don't want people opening the icon packs. So there are like a couple of teams there. They don't want to open those parts of the SBC while there is a promo ongoing.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I mean, EA know they can totally dictate the market with something like that, and it's in the code now from icon swaps. So, um, yeah, I think it's exciting, and I like that EA is doing that where you don't know because it would be kind of lame if people knew a date too. Everyone would just hold investments right up to it. But just know that when it does come, guys, you're gonna have a good like 6 hour period, maybe closer to 3 hours, but you're going to have a short amount of time to get in on investments. If it's priced accordingly, all those high-rated SBC fodders, particularly 88 plus, will rise for up to like 48 hours. So you get in early, you can just slowly watch them go up a few K in price at least.
And you know what I would do? I would want from EA. I would want something like this to happen. I would want them not to release all the SBCs at 6 p.m. UK time.
Yeah, I really like that they came up with the other one at 8 p.m. It just caused absolute chaos, and it was a funny time because people gave up that day. There, I remember specifically there was no content that day really, and people were mad. And then they dropped something like that at 8 p.m. So kind of funny.
Just imagine if they release something at 3 p.m. and not at 3 p.m. at 3:30 p.m.
That'd be great.
No one expects it, and it would be great.
Yeah, it'd be great for us NA people too. We could get in on investments by UK sleeps. I'd love that.
I have one more question regarding, let's say, this episode, because I have in my team Eder Militao Road to the Final card, and I see him rising every day with couple of K coins.
Totally.
So a lot of Road to the Final cards are rising, guys. I know that first games are on 18 of February, so not a lot of time, only 2 weeks until then.
Yep.
What would you advise here? This is a surprise question. I don't think you would expect it. What would you advise here? And what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think that investing early for things like that are great. Live cards hold more value than any other card in FIFA. I mean, they're just really hard to come down. So even if you guys are noting to yourself, like Thorian is, the games are 2 weeks away or 3 weeks away, if you buy one of each card that is still playing, you know they're going to have a really steady rise heading into their games. And I think the primary time to sell is usually like 3 to 5 days out. You might be able to wait a little bit extra, but sometimes people wait to the very last day, like the exact day of the games or the day before. So I try to sell before most of the audience. And yeah, you'll see a slow incremental price increase, but if they're going up a few K a day for 2 weeks, that adds up, right?
Yeah, and what I would advise here, guys, that's why I gave the example with Eder Militao for my team. I would recommend you guys to, if you invest in these players, just put them also in your team and play with them, because it would be also easier for you to have investments who you also play with. Yep. It's way easier. There are some good cards there. Eder Militao, for example, is the second best center back in La Liga.
Yep.
So yeah, do like that. I know I bought him for 600k. I know he's now 700k, and I've just played with him. I didn't do anything with that, and I didn't lose money, and I made like a lot of coins on that.
Yeah, it's a smart investment. Really safe, long term. Can play with them. I love it.
Yeah. So I don't know what else to ask you, or if we have anything else for today.
Yeah, I guess I just have one thing. I know we usually do a segment where I try to focus on teaching you guys something. I know you noted that to me beforehand too. So what I want to talk about here is kind of a more advanced trading technique, and it's going to be a little bit hard to describe. It's because it's not consistent every time. It's not something where I can tell the audience that you're going to want to buy on Friday nights because these players are going to rise the next day. But I want to talk about a strategy called overnight flipping. And overnight flipping is essentially a concept where you buy players really late in the EU time zone, which is like, I'd say 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. UK, because there's a lot of people at that time that will be offline. There won't be many users. There's not a lot of buying power. People will continuously list cards overnight, slowly bringing their price down because no one's buying. I'm pulling up on my screen right now an example of Kabak, because last night I actually called this trade out, and I will show it to you here. So yesterday, Kabak flew in price once McKennie came out. He went to like 325k plus briefly on PS, and you can see that huge increase here, guys. See, he started the day closer to 240, and he rose up to 320 briefly. Footbin won't read it, but it's reading at 300 plus. Okay, So you see that. And then we're going to go into today's graph, which is just past midnight. And you're going to see his price start to drop down. This happened for two reasons. One, because Squad Battle rewards came out. So people ripped open some packs, listed their cards, went to bed. It happens every week. You're seeing his price come down. And really late at night, or early morning, whatever you want to consider it, he went down to like 200 to 255K. Okay? People woke up in Europe and they did McKinney, maybe with their rewards. A lot of people did squad battles this week because of the swaps associated with it. And people got some money and they did McKinney, and then they needed someone to link him. So what happened with Kabak's price is he went from 257 or 255-ish at 5 or 6 a.m. UK, and now he's literally at, cheapest on the market, 299K PS. So if you bought him, you're making around 30K a card in like 12 hours. So it's a pretty advanced strategy. It doesn't always work, but it can work on really hyped new cards or promotion cards. You also saw it happen with Holland last week, and you saw it happen on a few FFS cards in these last few days.
And I guess it's way easier if you live in North America or US, or right, because you're up at that time.
Yeah, it's not even late here, so it works out great for me because it's like literally like 8 or 9 o'clock p.m. But a lot of Europe, I know this for a fact from Discord and everything, a lot of you guys stay up super late on weekends anyway, so don't act like it's impossible, because you can get as cheap at like 2 a.m. UK. We also did it with on the first night with this Diaby card. I'll show you it here. I know for a fact what happened was he went down to around 70K that first night on PS. I also include Xbox prices when I describe them. I just use PS because it's easy for me to check and it's my console. So early Saturday morning, he went down to like 75K PS. I'm showing them on the graph here. It was about 5 a.m. again. And then as the day increased, he got all the way up to 98K. So he went up like literally 20%, and you could make 15K a card within 6 hours again there. So same concept applies, and I think why he works is because he's French. He has nice links. And then on top of that, not everyone can afford all these Future Stars cards. So if you're able to try one that's in an attacking position, you're going to want to try one, even if he's a cheaper card. So I think a lot of people buy him up.
I agree on that. I know people say, okay, these are very pricey, at least let me try a card, and they try an attacking card or a very cheap one from the team. Exactly. And exactly what you advised, it happened to me with Saul Headliner.
Yes. Yep.
I've bought like, I don't know, 10 Saul Headliners with 60K on Friday night, and it wasn't even that late. It was let's say early for my time. And I know that I remember in the next day I woke up and at around noon he was like 70K, and I was like, whoa, I made 10K up card. But if I would have waited like 2 more hours, he went to 90K. So
exactly.
Yeah. So this also happens, and that's a very good advice. A little bit risky if you don't know the history of promos and cards and so on. So don't get like all money in on that. But you can try during the next promos or teams released to see how that works out. And I think that works out also with Team of the Week on Wednesday.
It can.
On Wednesday.
Yep, it can. It definitely varies a little bit based off demand and price, but yeah, there are some definitely opportunities where you can see that happen, and it's a good trend to look at. But the main reasoning is definitely that you lose buying power when Europe goes to sleep, and then they want the cards when they wake up.
I've remembered I have another topic for today, and it's a topic we discussed about last podcast also, Marquee Matchups.
Oh yeah, of course.
And just one thing here, I remember that last week we talked about Real Madrid versus Atletico, and they required two cards from one of the teams.
Yep.
So last week, I think the best way was to go with selling in the hype part,
Yep.
or with that Nacho investment who got into team of the week, and he's like, I think he's like 5k now, and at the time of the recording he was 2k, so you could have doubled your coins on that.
Yeah, totally. It's always safe going with some extra out of pack looks as well. I mean, that's a great doubled up investment, cross investment we call that. But yeah, guys, if marquee matchup players are up really well in the hype, you can always sell in the hype because we can't determine exactly what requirements EA will put out. Like we talk about, if they require one from each squad is where you see those teams rise massively, like Bayern did. Real did have that potential based off how much their cards are, so a lot of people bought into the hype, which meant you had a good ability to sell into the hype if you bought early, because literally I think the cheapest Real Madrid cards at one point got all the way up near 3k. So if you bought at 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, even 2k, you're still making about a k a card, which was quite good for a low budget investment. So never hesitate to take that profit. But some of you guys are like more of the gambler type of traders where you basically want the all or nothing approach, and we can't advise otherwise if you want to do it that way.
Yeah. I have an interesting game on the list for this week.
Yep.
And I'm very curious to hear your opinion. We have Bayern versus Leipzig this weekend.
Yeah, they were just used a few weeks ago, so that isn't even in my top three, but I would put that as my fourth highest possibility.
Yeah, it will be tricky. We will see how EA plays that game, because they know that they can either make it very expensive, either not include it in the selection. But we have a lot of other games.
Yeah, do you want me to read through some of mine that I have?
Oh yeah, sure. I have some here, but read yours and I will add one more if you don't have it.
Perfect. So game one, we have Inter versus AC Milan. That one seems extremely likely. I'd put it at like an 85% chance.
Yeah.
Inter Milan or AC Milan golds under 850. Either rares or non-rares look fine, just because there's not a huge selection of either team under that price. Game two, I'd say it would be Porto versus Benfica, which is 75% chance. I think you can get either team's non-rares literally around 500 coins, so it ends up being super low risk investment. They'll probably not rise a ton, to be honest, since their cards are so cheap and they have so many options, but just letting you know. And then the last game was tricky, just because there are some good options this week, but I would say Paris versus Lyon has a good chance at like 60% chance. Paris golds I think are good under 1.1k, and then Lyon are good under 700 coins. Those are my main three.
Yeah, and just to add to this, I have Bayern versus Leipzig, just because they are the first two teams in the Bundesliga.
Yep.
And second team would be the Basque Derby, which is Real Sociedad versus Athletic Bilbao.
Okay.
And I know this is a traditional derby in Spain. I don't know if they will include it or not, but as I always advise, if you're one of these guys who just like to do SBCs, just stock your club with a couple of players from each team and you'll be fine.
Totally.
Okay, so I guess that would be it for today. A little bit longer than the last shows, but I hope you guys enjoyed the information here. What can we say? I hope we hear good news from Jake soon with the baby, and yeah.
Thanks, guys, for all your support on these podcasts too. They're literally growing every single week. The viewership has been insane. If you guys comment down below, Flory and I make sure we check out every single comment on the videos, and it means a lot to see this growth and to see you guys enjoying them, and we're really enjoying them too. We are happy we could get one out today for Future Stars, and we'll have this uploaded really soon now, really early into the week.
Yeah, and don't worry, guys. If you leave comments with hate or with bad words, we will delete them. So I won't advise you doing that.
Exactly.
Thank you for watching or for listening, guys. We have this on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts. Until next time, I wish you to stay safe and hear or see you soon.
Later, guys. Thanks for tuning in.